Durin's Bane and the Fall of Khazad-dûm, a Middle-earth tragedy. A kingdom lost to shadow and flame. Imagine a realm so vast, so radiant, that its halls outshone the stars of the elder days. A subterranean wonder where the hammers of dwarves rang like anthems of creation. Khazad-dûm, the heart of dwarven glory, stood unyielding for millennia, its forges blazing, its treasures unrivaled. Founded by Durin the Deathless, the first of his kind, this kingdom was Middle-earth's greatest stronghold, until a single, fateful moment when its lights went dark, its gates slammed shut, and a terror older than the mountains awoke. What force could topple this unconquerable fortress? How did Durin's Bane, a demon of fire and shadow, transform the splendor of Khazad-dûm into the black abyss of Moria? Join me, dear friends, on an epic journey through J.R.R. Tolkien's Middle-earth to unravel the tragedy of the dwarves, the greed that doomed them, and the ancient evil that reshaped their world. Navia Melanin, and let's plunge into the lore. 1. The dawn of Khazad-dûm, a dwarven golden age. The vision of Durin the Deathless. In the years of the stars, before the sun and moon graced the skies, the Vala-Ole, the smith of the Vala, crafted the dwarves in secret, impatient for the children of Ilúvatar. As the Silmarillion recounts, Ole made the dwarves because he was unwilling to await the fulfillment of the designs of Ilúvatar. Among the seven fathers was Durin, named the Deathless for his long life, who awoke beneath the misty mountains. Guided by a vision, a pool reflecting stars, a crown of light, Durin founded Khazad-dûm, the mansion of the dwarves, in the caverns below Xirac-Zigil, one of Moria's three peaks, alongside Caradhras and Fanuidhol. Khazad-dûm was no mere cave, but a masterpiece of dwarven art. Its halls, carved from living stone, stretched across miles, their ceilings soaring like cathedral domes. Torchlight danced on walls inlaid with gems, and stairways spiraled to peaks where the dwarves gazed upon the stars. The dwarves, imbued with Aul's love for creation, wrought axes, armor, and ornaments with unmatched skill. Their craft was a sacred act, a sub-creation under Ilúvatar's design. As Tolkien notes in Morgoth's Ring, the dwarves were made to endure, to resist the dominion of Morgoth. The First Age, a quiet strength. In the First Age, Khazad-dûm stood apart from the wars against Morgoth, the Dark Lord who corrupted Arda. While elves and men battled in Beleriand, the Longbeards, Durin's folk, delved deeper, expanding their halls. They traded with the elves of Eregion and Nogrod, supplying mithril and steel, but avoided the great conflicts. As the Silmarillion states, the dwarves of Khazad-dûm had no part in the wars of Beleriand save in trade. This isolation preserved their strength, sparing them the ruin that befell Doriath and Gondolin. By the First Age's end, the War of Wrath shattered Beleriand, sinking it beneath the sea. Refugees from Nogrod and Belagost, ancient dwarven cities, fled to Khazad-dûm, swelling its population. These newcomers brought tales of loss, but also skills honed in the elder days, enriching Khazad-dûm's craft. The kingdom emerged from the cataclysm stronger, its halls a sanctuary for a race forged to endure. The Second Age, the pinnacle of glory. The Second Age marked Khazad-dûm's zenith under King Durin III. The discovery of mithril, or true silver, transformed the kingdom. As Gandalf describes in The Lord of the Rings, the wealth of Moria was not in gold or jewels, but in mithril. Lighter than silk, stronger than steel, and worth 10 times gold, mithril was unique to Khazad-dûm, save a fleeting mention of Númenor in unfinished tales. Its beauty captivated all. Mithril adorned the helms of Gondolin's lords, crafted treasures for the elves, and became the dwarves' pride. A rare alliance bloomed with the elves of Eregion, led by Celebrimbor, grandson of Feanor. The dwarves shared Mithril, receiving elvish knowledge in return. This friendship, sealed by the doors of Durin, inscribed with Ithilden, bore fruit in artifacts like the Mithril coat, later worn by Bilbo and Frodo. As the Lord of the Rings notes, the friendship of the dwarves and elves was great in those days, and they wrought many things together. The dwarves' forges burned brighter, their halls grew grander, and Khazad-dûm stood as a beacon of prosperity. Yet this golden age was fragile. Sauron, Morgoth's lieutenant, forged the rings of power, deceiving Celebrimbor. When the elves resisted, Sauron razed Eregion, ending the alliance. Khazad-dûm sealed its gates, turning inward. A few dwarves fought in the War of the Last Alliance, but their isolation deepened, their deeds hidden from the world. As the Silmarillion states, the dwarves hid themselves in deep places, and the gates of Khazad-dûm were shut. Mithril, the seed of doom. Mithril was Khazad-dûm's glory, but also its curse. The dwarves' hunger for it grew insatiable, driving them to dig deeper, chasing silver veins into the earth's heart. As Gandalf warned, they delved too greedily and too deep, and disturbed that from which they fled, the Lord of the Rings. This greed, born of pride and love for their craft, set the stage for catastrophe. The deeper they dug, the closer they came to secrets best left buried, secrets that would awaken a terror beyond their reckoning. The dwarves' devotion to Mithril was not mere avarice, but a reflection of their nature. As Tolkien writes in letters, the dwarves were made to be craftsmen, to delight in the work of their hands. Their delving was an act of creation, an echo of Ola's forge, yet it blinded them to the risks. The veins of Mithril, shimmering like moonlight, led them ever downward, toward the roots of the mountains, where an ancient evil lay in wait. Transition. The dwarves' pursuit of Mithril was a double-edged axe, forging wealth but sharpening their doom. Let's explore how their ambition unleashed a horror that would end their golden age. 2. The fall of Khazad-dûm. A nameless terror awakens. The fatal delve. By the Third Age, Khazad-dûm's miners had plumbed depths unknown, far below the Great Gates. In 1981, under King Durin VI, they reached the roots of Xirac-Sigil, where Mithril veins gleamed brightest. But in these uncharted caverns, they struck more than Mithril. They roused Durin's Bane, a Balrog of Morgoth. This demon of terror, as Tolkien calls it, was a creature of shadow and flame, its presence a blight upon the world. It slew Durin VI, earning its grim epithet, and within a year his son Nineveh fell. The dwarves, renowned for their stubborn courage, likely resisted for months. Their axes, forged in Khazad-dûm's legendary smithies, clashed against the Balrog's fiery whip, their shields raised against its shadow. Imagine the scene. Great halls, once filled with song, now echoing with the roars of a demon, the air thick with smoke and despair. Yet the Balrog's power was overwhelming, its flames consuming all who stood before it. Khazad-dûm was abandoned, its name forsaken for Moria, the Black Pit, a term heavy with elvish sorrow. The battle for Khazad-dûm. The year between Durin VI's death and Nineveh's fall is a tantalizing mystery. Tolkien offers few details, but the dwarves' resistance suggests a desperate struggle. Khazad-dûm was no ordinary fortress. Its walls were hewn from granite, its gates reinforced with steel, its warriors armed with mithril-tipped spears. The dwarves, as the Silmarillion notes, were strong and unyielding, made to endure the evils of the world. They likely fortified their halls, rallied their clans, and fought to reclaim their home. Speculation, grounded in Tolkien's texts, paints a vivid picture. The Balrog, a Maiar of immense power, may have struck swiftly, its flames sweeping through the lower mines, forcing the dwarves upward. Durin VI, a king of legend, might have faced the demon in single combat, his axe raised in defiance, only to fall before its might. Ninwi, inheriting a kingdom in chaos, could have led a counter-offensive, rallying his people in the Great Hall of Tharkun, only to meet the same fate. The dwarves' courage, though futile, speaks to their indomitable spirit, a theme Tolkien cherished. Ripples beyond the mountains. The Balrog's awakening reshaped Middle-earth. Nearby Sylvan elves, dwelling in the woods near Moria's East Gate, fled in terror. Many joined Galadriel and Celeborn in Lothlorien, strengthening its defenses, while others sailed west, abandoning Middle-earth. As the Lord of the Rings notes, the elves say that the dwarves disturbed the peace of the mountains. This exodus fueled the elves' distrust of dwarves, a rift that lingered into the Third Age, evident in Legolas's unease in Moria. The mithril hoards, painstakingly mined, were later seized by orcs and offered to Sauron. As the Lord of the Rings implies, the orcs gathered all the mithril and gave it in tribute to their master. This suggests a hidden trove in Mordor by the War of the Ring, a tantalizing detail for fans. Moria became a haunted ruin, its halls echoing with the footsteps of invaders, its treasures lost to shadow. The tragedy of greed. The fall of Khazad-dûm is a cautionary tale of hubris, a theme central to Tolkien's work. The dwarves' love for mithril, a gift of their craft, became their obsession, blinding them to the risks of their delving. Tolkien's tales often explore such flaws: Feanor's lust for the Silmarils, Thingol's desire for the Nauglamir. But Khazad-dûm's fall is uniquely tragic. It was not malice, but passion that led them to ruin, their devotion to Ola's legacy twisting into a fatal flaw. As Letters reveals, Tolkien saw the dwarves as a race apart, made to resist corruption but not immune to pride. Their greed was not for power, but for beauty, their delving an act of love for their art. Yet, as the Silmarillion warns, the work of Ol is destined to be marred. The Balrog, though the instrument of their downfall, was merely a consequence of their choices, a shadow awakened by their own hands. Transition. To grasp the Balrog's devastating power, we must journey back to the dawn of time, to the origins of this ancient evil and its place in Tolkien's mythology. 3. Durin's Bane. A fallen Maiar's legacy. The birth of a Balrog. Durin's Bane was no ordinary monster, but a Balrog, a Maiar corrupted by Morgoth, the first Dark Lord. In Tolkien's cosmology, Maiar are angelic spirits, kin to Sauron, Gandalf, and Radagast, who sang in the music of the Ainur before the world's creation. As the Valaquenta states, many Maiar were drawn to Morgoth's splendor in the days of his greatness, and remained in that allegiance down into his darkness. Among these were the Valarokar, scourges of fire, known in Middle-earth as Balrogs. Durin's Bane, wreathed in shadow, wielding a whip of flame, was one such demon, its heart ablaze with primordial fire. In the timeless halls, it may have sung in the music, its voice harmonizing with Ilúvatar's theme, before Morgoth's discord twisted its allegiance. As Morgoth's ring suggests, the Maiar, who followed Melkor, were great in power, but they forsook the light for darkness. The Balrog's fall was a tragedy, a choice to embrace destruction over creation. Balrogs in the First Age. In the First Age, Balrogs were Morgoth's chief warriors, their flames searing the battlefields of Beleriand. They fought in the Dagor Nuin Gileath, where Feanor fell, his spirit consumed by their fire. They marched in the Nirnaeth Arnoediad, their whips cracking like thunder, and likely assaulted Gondolin, reducing its towers to ash. Tolkien describes Balrogs as cloaked in darkness, and terror went before them. The Silmarillion, their presence a harbinger of doom. The number of Balrogs is a point of debate. Early drafts in the Book of Lost Tales depict hundreds, but Tolkien later revised this, noting in Morgoth's Ring that there should not be supposed more than, say, 3 or at most 7. This scarcity enhances their menace. Each Balrog was a catastrophic force, a mire whose power rivaled Sauron's. Durin's Bane, surviving the War of Wrath, was likely among the last, a relic of Morgoth's reign. Sanctuary in the Deep. When Morgoth fell in the War of Wrath, most Balrogs perished, their fires extinguished in the cataclysm that sank Beleriand. Durin's Bane, however, survived, fleeing to caverns inaccessible at the roots of the earth. The Silmarillion. Why the Misty Mountains? Tolkien hints that these peaks, raised by Morgoth to hinder the valor, held an ancient malice. As the Silmarillion states, Melkor raised the Misty Mountains to bar the path of Oromi. The Balrog, perhaps drawn to this echo of its master's power, burrowed into tunnels not made by Durin's folk, where the world is gnawed by nameless things, the Lord of the Rings. These nameless things are among Tolkien's most enigmatic creations. Older than the dwarves' delvings, they dwell in a realm beyond light or knowledge, gnawing at the earth's foundations. As Gandalf recounts, far, far below the deepest delvings of the dwarves, the world is gnawed by nameless things. I have walked there, but I will bring no report to darken the light of day. These entities suggest a primordial evil, perhaps remnants of Morgoth's corruption, a darkness even the Balrog sought as sanctuary. For over 5,000 years, Durin's Bane slumbered, undetected by the dwarves. Khazad-dûm, vast as it was, spanned only a fraction of the Misty Mountains' roots. The scale of the peaks, Caradhras, Fanuidhol, Ziraxigil, dwarfed even the dwarves' greatest halls, their depths hiding secrets beyond mortal ken. The Balrog's lair, a place of despair where time was uncounted, was untouched until the dwarves' picks stirred its slumber. Sauron and the Balrog, a missed alliance. By the Third Age, Sauron, Morgoth's lieutenant, ruled from Dol Guldur, near Moria, yet no alliance formed between him and Durin's Bane. Several possibilities arise. Sauron may not have known of the Balrog's presence, hidden as it was in Moria's depths. The Balrog, isolated for millennia, might have been unaware of Sauron's rise, its mind consumed by primal rage. Alternatively, both, as Maiar of equal rank, may have refused to submit to the other. In the First Age, Balrogs answered to Gothmog, their lord, not Sauron, who was a sorcerer and deceiver, not a warrior. As Morgoth's Ring notes, Sauron was not of the same order as the Balrogs in power. Sauron, ever cautious, likely saw little gain in confronting a potential rival. Like Shelob, whom he called his cat, the Lord of the Rings, the Balrog served his ends indirectly, blocking the Misty Mountains passes with orcs and trolls. A formal alliance risked conflict, for as Tolkien writes, one ring to rule them all. In the darkness, bind them. Sauron shared power with no one, least of all a demon whose fire might challenge his own dominion. Could they have allied? Speculation suggests a tenuous partnership, with Sauron directing the Balrog's wrath against Rivendell or Lothlorien. Yet the Balrog's pride, forged in Morgoth's service, likely made it untamable. As Letters reveals, Sauron was a being of order, seeking dominion not chaos. The Balrog, a creature of destruction, was chaos incarnate, a rabid beast too wild to leash. Are you enthralled by the Balrog's mystery? Share your thoughts in the comments. Could Sauron have harnessed Durin's Bane, or was it too feral to control? Hit like, subscribe, and join our fellowship for more Middle-earth lore. Transition. The Balrog's awakening marked Moria's end, but its story culminates in a clash of titans as another Maiar steps into the darkness to face it. 4. Gandalf versus Durin's Bane, a clash of fire and light. The Fellowship in Moria. In 3019 of the Third Age, Gandalf led the Fellowship of the Ring through Moria's haunted halls, seeking a path beneath the mountains. The ruins, now infested with orcs, were a shadow of Khazad-dûm's glory, yet a greater peril stirred. Durin's Bane, sensing a rival, emerged from the depths. Several factors may have drawn it. The One Ring's malign presence, which lured the Watcher in the water, Pippin's ill-fated stone, dropped down a well, or, most intriguingly, Gandalf's own power. Days earlier, on Caradhras, Gandalf used fire magic to save the Fellowship from a storm, lamenting, "I have written, Gandalf is here," in signs that all can read from Rivendell to the mouths of Anduin, the Lord of the Rings. Later, defending against wargs, he unleashed a blaze that leapt from treetop to treetop, crowned with dazzling light. These acts, displaying a Maiar's fiery might, likely alerted Durin's Bane, itself a creature of flame. While not explicitly stated, the parallel between their powers suggests a fateful connection, two sides of the same elemental coin. The Battle of the Bridge. On the bridge of Khazad-dûm, Gandalf faced the Balrog in a duel that shook the earth. He declared, "I am a servant of the secret fire, wielder of the flame of Ainur. The dark fire will not avail you, flame of Udun, the Lord of the Rings." These words are rich with meaning. The secret fire is Eru Ilúvatar's creative spark, the essence of life Morgoth coveted but could not grasp. The flame of Ainur, likely Narya, Gandalf's elvish ring, embodies hope and inspiration. In contrast, the Balrog's dark fire and flame of Udun evoke Morgoth's destructive chaos, a mockery of true creation. Their battle plunged into the abyss, where the Balrog's fire was quenched, transforming it into a thing of slime, stronger than a strangling snake. The Lord of the Rings. Gandalf pursued it through dark tunnels, not delved by dwarves, where time is not counted. Up the endless stair they climbed, from Moria's lowest dungeon to Ziraxigil's peak. There, amid lightning and ice, Gandalf cast the Balrog down, its fall shattering the mountainside. As he recounted, "I threw down my enemy, and he fell from the high place and broke the mountainside." The Lord of the Rings. The elemental struggle. This clash was more than physical. It was a metaphysical struggle. Gandalf and the Balrog, both Maiar, embodied opposing forces: creation versus destruction, light versus shadow. Their fire-based powers mirror each other, yet Gandalf serve life while the Balrogs consume it. As the Silmarillion states, the shadow can only mock, it cannot make. Their duel, spanning the depths and heights of Moria, symbolizes the eternal battle between hope and despair, a microcosm of Middle-earth's greater war. The Balrog's transformation, from a fiery demon to a slimy serpent, then back to flame, reveals its mutable nature. As Morgoth's ring suggests, the Maiar could take forms suited to their purpose. In water, its fire quenched, it became a creature of strength. On Ziraxigil, it burst into new flame, its wrath rekindled. Gandalf, wielding both sword and staff, matched its ferocity, his resolve unbroken even in death. The aftermath. Both perished, but their fates diverged. Gandalf, faithful to Ilúvatar, was reborn as Gandalf the White, his mission unfinished. As Letters explains, Gandalf was sent back, for his task was not yet done. Durin's Bane, a rebel, was left a powerless spirit, unable to return. As the Silmarillion notes, the spirits of those who rebel against Ilúvatar are cast into the void. Its defeat, after 5,500 years of terror, marked the end of Morgoth's last great servant. The battle's impact lingered. The Fellowship, grieving Gandalf's loss, pressed on, their resolve tested. Moria, freed of its demon, remained a place of dread, its halls a testament to the dwarves' loss. Yet Gandalf's victory was a turning point, a beacon of hope in the War of the Ring. Transition. The Balrog's defeat marked the end of its reign. But the fall of Khazad-dûm carries lessons that resonate through Tolkien's world and beyond. 5. The legacy of Moria, greed, loss, and hope. A cautionary tale. Khazad-dûm's fall is a tragedy of greed, a theme central to Tolkien's work. Mithril, a gift of Oli's craft, became an obsession, driving the dwarves to disturb an ancient evil. Tolkien's tales often warn of such flaws, Feanor's lust for the Silmarils, Thorin's dragon sickness, but the dwarves' story is poignant for its purity. Their greed was not for dominion, but for creation, their delving an act of love for their art. Yet, as the Silmarillion warns, the work of Auloi is destined to be marred. The dwarves' tragedy echoes Feanor's. Both pursued beauty, Mithril, Silmarils, only to awaken destruction. As Letters reveals, the dwarves were made to resist corruption, but not immune to pride. Their passion, unchecked, led them to ruin. A lesson Tolkien, a Catholic, rooted in the fall. The misuse of free will invites shadow, shaping Middle-earth. Moria's fall had lasting consequences. The elves' flight reshaped Lothlorien's isolationist stance, their distrust of dwarves hardening. As the Lord of the Rings notes, the elves held the dwarves to blame for the evil in the mountains. Sauron's forces occupied Moria, using it to block the Misty Mountains passes, a strategic gain from the Balrog's chaos. The Mithril hordes, seized by orcs, likely fueled Sauron's war machine, a grim irony for the dwarves' labor. Yet the dwarves' legacy endured. Their mithril, though lost, inspired hope. Bilbo's coat, a relic of Khazad-dûm's glory, saved Frodo's life. Gimli's dream of reclaiming Moria, voiced in The Lord of the Rings, hints at redemption, a future where the dwarves might restore their home. As Letters states, the dwarves are a race of hope, enduring through loss. Thematic resonance. Durin's Bane is more than a villain. It's a symbol of primal fear, a reminder of the shadows lurking beneath even the greatest works. Tolkien's mythology, rooted in his faith, sees evil as a perversion of good, a shadow cast by light. The Balrog, once a Maiar of splendor, chose destruction over creation, its fire a twisted echo of Ilúvatar's spark. Its defeat by Gandalf affirms the triumph of hope, a theme central to The Lord of the Rings. As Frodo's journey shows, even the smallest can defy the greatest evils, just as Gandalf overcame a demon older than the world. The battle mirrors other Tolkien clashes. Tulkas vs. Morgoth, Éowyn versus the Witch King. Each pits light against shadow, courage against despair. As On Fairy Stories argues, the eucatastrophe is the sudden, joyous turn. Gandalf's victory is Moria's eucatastrophe, a glimpse of redemption amid ruin. A universal lesson. Khazad-dûm's story speaks to us all. Greed, even for noble ends, can lead to ruin. Yet loss is not the end. The dwarves' courage, resisting Durin's Bane for a year, reflects their indomitable spirit. Moria's ruins, though dark, hold the promise of renewal, a testament to Tolkien's belief in eucatastrophe. As he wrote, "The birth of Christ is the eucatastrophe of man's history." On fairy stories. Khazad-dûm's fall is a shadow, but its legacy is a light that endures. The story challenges us to temper ambition with wisdom, to face fear with courage, and to seek light amid darkness. In our world, where greed, be it for wealth, power, or knowledge, threatens balance, Khazad-dûm's lesson is timeless. The dwarves' fall reminds us that even the greatest works can falter, but their hope, like Gimli's dream, endures. What lessons do you draw from Khazad-dûm's fall? Could the dwarves have avoided their fate, or was Durin's Bane inevitable? Share your thoughts below, hit like, and subscribe for more Middle-earth lore. Stay groovy, dear friends, and Navia Melanin. Conclusion. The Eternal Flame. Khazad-dûm's story is a tapestry of glory and tragedy, woven with threads of greed, courage, and redemption. From its starlit founding to its fiery fall, it stands as Middle-earth's greatest kingdom, undone by its own ambition. Durin's Bane, a fallen Maya, embodies the shadow that haunts creation, its flames a mockery of the light it once knew. Yet in Gandalf's victory, we see the triumph of hope, a reminder that even the deepest darkness cannot extinguish Ilúvatar's fire. The dwarves' tale is not one of defeat, but of endurance. Their mithril, their halls, their dreams live on, carried by Gimli's vision and Frodo's coat. Moria's ruins, though silent, whisper of renewal, a future where the dwarves might reclaim their heritage. Tolkien's world teaches us that loss is not the end, that light persists through shadow. As we leave Moria's gates, let us carry its lessons. To create with care, to resist despair, and to seek the spark of hope in every heart. Until next time, my fellowship, may your paths be ever bright, Navia Melanin, and may the lore of Middle-earth guide your way.